Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome to a very special episode of QuickBooks Labs. This episode is live and in person from QuickBooks Connect 2023. The conference itself was packed with amazing announcements and showcased just how inspiring the QuickBooksing community really is. On the pod itself, we had some really special guests, and I'm going to keep that a surprise for now, and some hot takes on those juicy announcements. Before I hand you over to the live recording, I personally wanted to thank the team of QuickBooks Labs itself. From Johan, Ash, Charlie, and also the producer, Lizzie. And to all the listeners who have made this possible. Because of you, it's been a huge privilege that we've been able to work with a fantastic team at Intuit to fulfill a bucket list opportunity and actually run this live from the show itself, giving you those raw reactions to all of those announcements. So please do excuse some of the technical issues during the show. And it's over to Johan, live from QuickBooks Connect 2023.
Good afternoon and welcome to QuickBooks Labs. You are joining us live from Billingsgate at QuickBooks Connect, where we have just seen the release of 5 updates. It's been a bit thin on the ground for news with QuickBooks for the last few months, but it was worth the wait. We are here as per usual with Charlie and Ash. I'm here. Aaron's going to be joining us shortly. He's just out finishing his session that he's delivering. And we're going to cross over because I've got to go and deliver a session that I've got to deliver. But more importantly, we have got a guest, and our guest today is none other than Chet. Chet, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us what your role is in Intuit QuickBooks, and what your primary focus is on a day-to-day basis, really.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, thank you for the introduction. I'm Chet Shah. I am the Commercial and Accountant Segment Leader. My role is twofold. One is I'm responsible for the commercial elements of the accountancy relationship, so our relationship with you guys and all the people that you see downstairs, and also from a segment perspective, ensuring that we continue to champion accountants in the organization. And hopefully you've seen today, that's exactly what we've been doing.
I think that message has come very clearly today with the updates. So how long have you been enrolled, Chet?
So now coming up to 2 years.
Great. Okay, so we've seen 5 product releases. We've been told in the past that the accounting relationship's important to QuickBooks, and sometimes we've not always felt that that's been lived up to. But I think it's very fair to say that we've seen a change in tone today.
Yes.
We've seen the day 2, which is always about small businesses as well as accountants, dropped. So it's all about accountants for one whole day. And we've just seen 5 updates that have little to no impact on small businesses, the end user. They're all there to make our lives better and more efficient. Would we all agree with that?
Yes, definitely with the accountants focused with with those updates. I think you're reading the updates.
Carry on.
I was just thinking of some of the practice management tools that just come off the top of my head. Was the VAT forecasting in that product update, or that was just the one that the Joe Long just mentioned earlier?
The one that's mentioned, I think we're going to see being
rolling out, because that was the one that first came to mind, was the forecasting and the VAT, only because I've started looking at forecasting with using another app for 3-way forecasting. But I'm thinking, if you're going to start forecasting VAT, then surely you must be forecasting other balance sheet movements to be able to get to the VAT figure at the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah, Charlie, what are your thoughts on what we've
I
seen?
thought, well, I mean, to highlight what you were just saying, I think I may have said to you earlier, Chet, or to Nick, that there was a period where QuickBooks did seem to be focusing more on businesses, which is perfectly fine. But I think we've very, very much seen here today that you've got a very strong focus on the accountant channel, and working closely with us to help deliver a fantastic product for us as well as for our clients. And some of the innovations today that were announced, I think were great. The practice management tool, I thought, looked very, very interesting.
Excellent. It's really good to hear, actually. Our focus has always been accountants. There's no doubt in it that we absolutely recognize the value of accountants. What we've tried to demonstrate today is that we're not just saying that, we're actually demonstrating it through our product as well. And to your point, we've launched a lot of stuff that's very much accountant focused. But your end users, your SMBs, your clients will benefit as a result. You'll become more efficient. You'll be able to do a lot more work in a shorter space of time. You'll save money, which in turn saves your clients money. So actually, the SMB is a beneficiary by us supporting you.
Definitely, very much that tagline we've seen is prosperity, powering prosperity, and I can certainly see how these new features are powering accounting firms' prosperity, which means we've got the time and resources to spend helping power small businesses' prosperity. So yeah, it's all, the messaging is all on par, and I think it's a refreshing change of tone of voice, not just from QuickBooks, but for the accounting industry as a whole. Because I do think sometimes it's quite easy just to go direct to market and direct to the SMBs for our TV adverts and stuff, and accountants feel a bit put out, shall we say? But yeah, I think it's been a really, really good day, and so many people down there today enjoying it all being about the accountants and the focus on them. So let's get on to these products then. So we've got 5 updates, okay? So we have got practice management being built into QuickBooks directly. We have got a payroll bureau coming out, which will power payroll for regardless of the accounting software that you need to put those journals into, which I think is probably the biggest market game changer we've seen here today, because none of your competitors offer that. We've got the Pro Advisor skill packages. Now, I was chatting to a few people and they didn't really see the point in that. Personally, I think if I was starting an accounting firm today, the fact that QuickBooks has given me resources to learn some basic aspects of marketing, you're powering my prosperity again. I think that's really important. Sure.
So, I mean, let's talk about Pro Skills for a moment. Why did we do that? So we've got Pro Advisor program, which has been running for a number of years successfully. And to your point, from a training perspective, it's got a very thorough training. If you're new to QuickBooks, you go on to your Pro Advisor, you do your training, and you get very well grounded in the product and how it works. You can then go on to do advanced as well. We've then broadened out the program in the past to include marketing and other elements to it. So how to grow your practice, not just grow your use of the product. Pro Skills for us is a really interesting opportunity. We listen. We're all, hopefully you've seen today, we're listening to our accountants all the time. And what they were telling us was, okay, so I've been doing this for a while. Now what? Now what's next? What's next? And so we thought to ourselves, how do we make this a bit more fun? How do we make it more interesting? So training's fine. People enjoy training. People enjoy the products. But actually, we wanted to add an element of fun to it. And accountants are fun people, let's face it.
They don't like to portray it, but yes, they are.
You kind of hold back on the fun.
Don't judge the industry by us.
Yeah.
So Pro Skills is as much about the training, the development, the learning, and it's also having a bit of fun as well. So if your listeners haven't seen it yet, get onto Pro Skills. You can go via the product, and you can get into the program, register for it. We've got competitions, we've got draws coming up. There's opportunity to earn some badges, skills badges. So it's a fantastic opportunity to really immerse yourself. And to your point, if you're a new starter, if you've just started your practice, what a great way to learn and have fun and engage and get your knowledge up to speed.
Yeah. And I made a comment earlier and I was put in my place. So I said, oh, actually, gamification, which is what this skill process is now, it's very good, very in with the younger crowd. At which point, a lovely 65-year-old bookkeeper lady pointed out, I quite enjoy gamification. And then she pointed out she's been playing Pokemon, and where you go walk around London and catching your Pokemon. And it's like, right, okay, point made. So yeah, gamification is for all generations.
I would add to that point. We had somebody come into the office recently who started up many of the games that you see on your phone today. They're the company behind it. Our assumption was there'd be lots of youngsters that are using those apps. They said their demographics are in the later age, the maturer group, because actually people like playing a few games on their phone, pass the time, good for the brain. No, we haven't turned into one of those apps just yet, but watch this space.
Brilliant. So yeah, the pro skills.
But the key thing is that the skills, I mean, they're really valuable skills that we will need to learn, and not just based on how to use QuickBooks, which is what the core training is about. The skills are about being an accountant in practice and how to grow the practice.
Yeah, I think that's important as well. The role of the accountant is more than just using the product. It's about growing your practice, so we're helping there as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's some. Is there like a marketing one in there as well? I've not looked at it yet, but I've just come out of the Intuit marketing session, the MailChimp session, and I'm a MailChimp user, but there was so much stuff in there that I've not been using MailChimp properly. I need to go back in there. I'm going to go back downstairs in a minute actually and have a chat to some of the people in there. So I don't use it as an accountant. I use it for my to reach out to my app customers. But I think oh yeah, I could do these things and I can put these tags in. I can segment some of my customers just in the same way that an accountant can segment their clients and put them in little buckets. Ways to contact them in different, so that it's definitely some tools there that not just your double entry bookkeeping and preparing a set of accounts, because there's more to running a business than that. It's using some of these other features, and so I need to have a look at the and one or two badges myself, but it's definitely worth having a look at.
It's like what you just said there with MailChimp. You're using it,
Yeah.
but actually there's so many features you're not.
Yeah.
I think that's what's brilliant about QuickBooks Connect as well, is you always walk away going like, we use it day in, day out. But I always walk away going, I really must look at that feature and make sure we're utilizing it properly. Because I think, it would be interesting to get some official stats from someone in the future, but how much of QuickBooks is actually utilized? There's so much in there. There's so much fantastic value in reports and stuff, but how much of it's really genuinely utilized by the majority of users? So coming to events like this where we can go, great, this is all the new stuff. I forgot it does that. Like working papers, most people went, I heard that it does it, never looked at it. But now we've got the accounts and tax production. Actually, working papers is more prevalent, and now there's a real good use case for it.
Yeah.
I think there's many benefits to coming to QBC, but two of the big benefits you get is, one, you obviously get to learn about the announcements, the product. You get to talk to Intuit staff, you get to see demos, you get to engage, ask your questions. But the other thing is that all the accountants are together and they're talking to each other and networking with each other, and they're getting really excited, and they hear something from somebody else and they go, oh, hang on, I haven't been over there, let me go talk to them about that. And you bounce off each other. And the energy that we're feeling in the room downstairs is that energy from all of you bouncing off each other and actually sharing with one another what's happening.
That's one of the nice things about being live in person for the first time in 4 years now at QBC. The last couple of years being virtual, so we learned about the products, updates, and all that kind of stuff. But we didn't have what you're describing, Chen. We didn't have the interaction with each other and with our colleagues, which is hugely important because we learn from each other. Thankfully we don't tend to be an industry that keeps our ideas close to our chest. We have to share ideas. There's plenty of work for everyone. We're not trying to find new clothes. There's loads of them out there. So we share ideas and learn from each other, and that's why these are so valuable.
Excellent.
Yeah, there's a huge value to the sense of the community, but also what I really like about these events is actually you're not here to just be sold QuickBooks. The majority of sessions are from industry experts, users such as myself, that are talking about topics that are relevant to running a firm. Yes, some of their benefits are with using QuickBooks for those, but actually they're thought-provoking topics. Whereas some of these conferences you can go to, you can just be sold QuickBooks or Xero or Sage, and that's all it is a marketing spiel for 8 hours. So I think the balance here has always been very good, and it's always been well respected for that. But overall, it's a very broad sense of an agenda, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we've spoken about the pro skills, which I think it's got, and that could go anywhere, can't it? That's got so much scope for increasing different topics, different subjects, continued gamification. So that's exciting to see. I know you've been heavily involved in that and the gamification project. I can sense the passion you've got for that.
Absolutely.
And it's fantastic. So that's the main one. Out of the other 4 areas, is there another one one more that you'd really think, for us, we feel this is a game changer for accountants?
So I think it's about bringing it all together. Practice management is new. Great announcement today. But what's the story behind that? Books to tax. And I know some of you had heard we were doing books to tax already, and you've been very much involved in that process as well. But what are we trying to achieve here? We're listening to accountants. Accountants are telling us that actually they're having to dive into lots of different software to get the job done. So in order to streamline your work processes, etc., you need more of the software talking to each other. So our logic behind this is that bookkeeping is one element, tax is another big element for you, and running your practice is a third element. They're the 3 core things that a lot of accountants, particularly looking after small businesses, are doing. So what we want to do is make that journey as seamless as possible. So the more the data flows between those seamlessly, the better it's going to be. And we've just begun our journey. But if we can get that right, and you'll see from the product releases today that we're on the right pathway, then from what we can see, accountants are going to benefit massively. You're going to get huge benefits in terms of, well, you've got one product set that does it all for you. Your efficiencies will go up. Your costs will come down. So your clients will benefit. There's less risk around data, so data being lost or data integrity, because actually it's all staying together. And then you can still bolt into it any additional applications that you need to, for specialist applications that you require. But having an end-to-end view or end-to-end capability is going to be huge for accountants, we think.
Completely agree. Welcome, Aaron. How was your session?
Yes, very good, very good, very good. How have we gone so far? We asked the big question yet.
Which one?
ProAdvisor Plus.
ProAdvisor Plus.
Oh,
No.
I
What
don't
have you
wanna-
heard?
We were waiting for you.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to completely derail this, but I am so excited. This is the bit that I've been excited about for this one. So, ProAdvisor Plus, your baby, your
ProAdvisor skills.
ProAdvisor skills. Sorry,
I was going to say, that, yeah,
Yeah.
you've just named it the wrong thing.
Just covered it.
but we've covered that.
Yes, we've
I
done
thought
that.
we
We've
were
talked about the gamification.
Can I just say though, what idea? Like, I generally think that's going to be the one thing we're going to take from here and go, right, actually, that's something we can play around with a little bit and have some fun with, because that gives us the opportunity to actually show a few more, sexy bits of QuickBooks off that we weren't able to show as the training team and stuff. So I think that's where we're going to get a lot of benefits from that. So yeah.
But I should point out, there's an entire team behind that. So I'm one of a number of people that pull that together.
But it's your baby though, isn't it? So finally seeing it launched, it must be cool.
And it's gone down really well on social media. So I know you posted about you getting your badge. You beat me to it by like minutes. I was very upset. I thought I was going to be first. But I posted about it, was it a week ago? And it's had over 18,000 impressions, 160 reactions on LinkedIn. Like, people have really, loads of people are saying, right, how do we do this? This looks amazing. This is a great resource. I think one person didn't get it, but there's always going to be someone out there that doesn't get it. They don't get the value, the perception of gamification. Maybe that's not their thing. But the overall trend on social media, I don't know what it's been like as a reaction to your post, but it's incredibly positive from my end.
Yeah, I mean, for most parties, people going, what's that? What's that? What's that? And that's what it's about, isn't it? It's about that idea where people can go, actually, I didn't even know this sort of thing existed.
where is this badge come from in the first place? Suddenly there's a conversation for it, and suddenly we're talking about it, and from there. And let's be honest, we started with marketing. Like, it's not the be all and end all of accountancy as well. There's bigger and better, bigger areas that people are going to be more invested in going forward. So we're getting this buzz from a marketing push, and there's going to be even more when we come to the other stuff that's coming online. So yeah, no, I love it. I think it's anything gamification. I think just works because it gives us that incentive to go out there. And we were talking on the last podcast, didn't we, on the Canton Web one? Like, it gives an opportunity for us to encourage our staff more than anything else because it gives them that something to go for and everything else. So yeah, I think it's a great initiative.
So marketing's the first. Is there how many are out there at the moment, or is that just the first one?
So
I've not looked at it
there
yet.
are 3 groups,
Yeah.
and then there are 3 modules in each one.
Yeah.
And we've just launched the first 3 of the first segment, if you like. There'll be a time period for everybody to complete those, and then we'll launch the second part, and then eventually the third part as well. So there's plenty of time for people to join in and start getting in and getting engaged and start earning their badges and going through the training. And then we will release the next number 2 and number 3 shortly.
What's coming in number 2? What's that?
You have to get on there.
That's a secret.
Yeah.
That's it.
We can't get the exclusive, but we'll try.
It's really easy. You just got to go in there, register, and you'll find it.
Right. So we know QuickBooks to Tax, Pro Tax, however we want to name it. What's the title we're giving it?
So the concept of books to tax being delivered through Pro Tax. So the final element we do done through Pro Tax.
Right. So we know that's been spoken about at events since Accountex May last year. I think that was the first time that Jonathan Valentine or JV was demoing it to the public, and it's gone leaps and bounds since then. Absolute leaps and bounds. Is a whole different product, really. That has been pledged to be free at the moment. Is that going to stay free?
So our thinking behind this is the more you can do in product, the better experience you're going to get, and the more likely you are to recommend the product even more. So new clients coming on board. So for the time being, our plan is to keep it free of charge. Yes.
So that was the easier question. So we've got Payroll Bureau, we've got Practice Management, Pro Skills. I'm going to go on the assumption that's free as part of the ongoing training and development that QuickBooks commits to its accountants. So when can we expect some information around the pricing of Payroll Bureau and Practice Management?
Okay, so both will come imminently.
Right.
There's always this dilemma at QBC because we want to announce and we want to share. You've taken the time and trouble to be here, so we really want to share as much as we can. As we now are into H2, we will release more details imminently.
Great. Okay. Was there any other features that we were wanting to discuss with Chet directly? I'm conscious Chet's got to make a move in a few minutes.
QB Advanced was mentioned again. I mean, we've had that for a while. It was one of the. But I'm not sure. I don't actually use QB Advanced yet. I need to have a play with that. It's also got some very good features in it. But was there anything particularly new within it that's being announced at the moment?
So I'm going to look at one of my colleagues here.
No, there's nothing new as such, is there, other than this kind of enhancements to what's there. I think the big thing though is a lot of people in that room like you not used it yet. I think that's the whole point of it, isn't it? Let's keep drumming that, banging that drum. Let's keep telling people how good it is and opportunity it is, and then at that point we can get more people using it, can't we?
So what the purpose of Advanced is, as your clients get larger and they outgrow QuickBooks Online Plus, which is a great product and it's used very widely, but we recognize as the organizations that you're supporting grow, they need something bigger. And the platforms they would then have to go onto are significantly bigger and significantly more expensive. We think Advanced plugs a nice little gap where organizations are starting to grow. They're not quite enterprise level, but they're much smaller than a very small business now, and they need the sophistication of a product that can handle their requirements and users as well, multiple users. So we've launched. You'll see continuous updates in there as well, and we look forward to seeing what reviews we get.
Brilliant. Well, Chet, I'm conscious of time because you need to make a move. So do I. could you potentially just give us a 1 or 2 minute summary of your thoughts of today, the direction QuickBooks is going in, what is exciting you about the next year ahead? Because it'll be another year until we all sit down again at QuickBooks Connect 2024 and look at that year ahead. So
Yeah, look, you felt the excitement downstairs. You felt the energy that's there. So that's because we're getting so many great people together. It's not just about launching products. It's about bringing this community together and really celebrating and sharing with one another our knowledge. So, to summarize, this event has been about accountants because we recognize the importance and value of accountants. We were talking about that a little while back, and we're delivering on our promises, and I think we're listening. I think we're being told we're listening all the time. So the product updates you've seen, the releases that you've seen, they're all because actually we spoke to you and you said this is what we want to see. Books to tax is a great example of that. We've been told for a while, actually, we want to see tax. We want to see it as part of the overall product. It's there. We're delivering it now. Practice management was something else that people have been talking to us about, saying it's getting more complicated out there. We've got lots more clients with differing needs. Potentially there's talent shortages, so it's harder to recruit, and therefore you need the tools and capability in order to provide this end-to-end data flow. And now practice management also gives you that as well. So, we're here to serve accountants because we ultimately serve the same community. We all serve small businesses to power their prosperity. And we know by helping you help them is the phrase we like to think of.
well, Chet, thank you so much for joining us on our little podcast, QuickBooks Labs. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you, and a bit of a scoop to get someone of your caliber on this show for us as a first guest for QuickBooks Labs. So thank you very much for all your time.
Oh, it's very kind. It's lovely to meet you all.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thanks, Chad.
We are going to do a quick changeover. Aaron's going to take over from me, and your guest is on his way, I believe. So I'll let you announce who that is because we've not declared that yet.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
So kept that
Swap
secret.
these around. Let's have a bit of a chat about what we thought today's announcements event is. I don't know if you've already done that, but yeah, have you?
We had a little bit of a,
Yeah.
a bit of a chat.
Yep.
What was the main?
Well, I mean, look, there was 4 or 5 announcements. So, maybe we should just summarise them first. The new practice management tool.
Yep.
Which looks very good. We haven't had a detailed demonstration of it yet. I don't think it's quite ready for a full demo. You've got to all forgive me. I've got this dreadful cough. So I keep turning away from the microphone when the coughing gets too bad. But there's the practice management tool, which is very sophisticated from what we've seen so far. It's not just what they've had in there before of sort of covering a few sort of what they call Kanban, whatever it's called, those kind of things they've had before. It's a proper practice management tool. There's further advancements or further discussion of QuickBooks Advanced. There's the Bureau Payroll. There's Books to Tax, and I think the 5th one is the
Pro Skills.
Pro Skills.
Yeah.
Is the 5th one. I mean, for me, I think probably the most interesting is probably the practice management, because there are a number of practice management tools out there, kind of which have been the most popular, have changed over the years. Sometimes some of the products that have been most popular, maybe opinion changes when other companies come in and buy them.
Yeah.
So that is an area that's sort of ripe for
And I think
advancement.
Chet did really well when he said that, though. It's about pain points, isn't it?
Yes,
So it
absolutely.
doesn't matter what the size of your practice is. Actually, practice management was a pain point. And yeah, we can get practice management solutions out there. And I'm still under the impression, I'm yet to be convinced that QuickBooks practice management is going to be the ultimate solution to completely and utterly change from. But I think it's something we could work with. Like all practices could use it side by side.
Here's the thing: if you're a big practice, if you've got, or you've been, it doesn't matter how big you are. But let's say you've got 5, 10 staff, or more. Obviously, you've been around for years. You've got your own practice management solution. You're not necessarily going to switch into the QuickBooks practice management. But you're starting out, and you're thinking, what bookkeeping package am I going to be using? Well, I'm looking at QuickBooks. It's one of the best out there. We'd argue probably the best, but we're biased. But it is, very, very good product. But then I need practice management. Well, maybe I can't afford practice management, or maybe by having a proper practice management, a really end-to-end solution for practice management that can handle all of the things you want to manage. It can manage your task management. it can handle, which, if you've got a couple of staff or more, which staff members are working on which thing, or maybe this staff member is working on this job, but actually they've gone off ill,
Exactly.
off,
Yeah.
and you've got to hand over to somebody else. You can manage all of that stuff for you, and having that in product, I think
Yeah,
makes
this
it's going
is
to make
this
a
is
big.
this is the thing. From my understanding at the moment, it's not completely in product, and there will be some separate pricing for that. So it's not something that is just going to be. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alan,
I'm not saying anything.
I don't think it's just completely handed over.
Yeah.
FOC.
Mm.
If you want practice management, there might be a supplementary charge for that.
Okay.
Perhaps then, I don't know. They've not actually come forward and said.
I think
what
the
charges
feeling is
are.
there is a charge, and what that charge is going to be, we're all yet to find out. But
I would imagine it would be cheaper than some of the
exactly
things out
right,
there.
yeah,
Because that would be the point. And maybe, maybe these there's various things that they might offer. For example, if you've got, the more clients you get. I mean, Xero did this thing a few years ago. If you have more than so many clients, you're a silver or gold or platinum, whatever they called them. User, you get, maybe they throw in the practice management solution for free. If you're less than that, there's a
it felt like
small
that
fee.
felt like more of a garden wall, though, didn't it? Like,
Yes,
because
suppose
I
so.
wanted to try out some of the work paper solution stuff, and at the time I didn't have enough
in
clients
that other product,
in the other products, and
yeah.
and then you kind of like, well, I can't evaluate if that's going to be worthwhile. Is that a carrot I should be chasing, or is that a carrot I should leave behind? So I get their pricing structure. It makes them more sticky, doesn't it? It gives you a reward for being with them, but I'm not sure that quite works. So
I think the perfect scenario in that would probably be you could trial it on one client for nothing.
Yeah.
And then as you
Yes.
build up your practice,
Yes.
if you know it works for you, then you might start adding new clients on.
Yeah.
So that it's that
absolutely.
you can afford it.
So Ash, what was your favourite part about today? Then what's your favourite?
My favourite part, but they didn't mention they were releasing any fixed asset model within your normal QuickBooks subscription. So I'm slightly relieved about it. So I could sleep for a little bit longer. That was my favourite.
And rightly so as well. Rightly so. So while we're waiting for Nick, then what about the breakout session? Oh,
yeah. We haven't said Nick who.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be any Nick.
Could be any old Nick. Yeah.
I'm going to see Nick
Nicki
Kershaw.
Minaj.
I'm going to see Nick Kershaw in October.
Yeah.
But it's not him.
But while we wait for him to go, any breakout sessions or anything that you want to shout out?
Yeah, I just mentioned actually while we were chatting to Chet, been into the MailChimp session, and as a MailChimp user, I've not actually currently got it integrated with my QuickBooks file, but so everyone that subscribes up to NetTracker, we've got the integration that automatically pops them on to the MailChimp subscription, and there's some nice features in there which I didn't realise were there. Which I've basically just been woken up to and thought, I must go back in there and have a little route around. So for again, I'm probably just repeating what I said earlier a bit, but from an accountant's point of view, so as they were mentioning there, you could sort of look through your clients that were listed. So you could say, well, I've got my limited company clients, my sole trader clients, and I can tag them all. So if I actually need to focus on my sole traders that could have been going up for making tax digital or whatever, then I need to be sending out that mail list just for that section.
And it goes all the way to the product as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So they take, maybe you're selling them company secretarial for something, whatever it's going to be. You've got that opportunity to market to them, haven't you?
Yeah, and you can filter it by what your annual fee is or by it. So you can say, well, I'm going to send out an email to everyone that spent more than £2,000 with me over the last year, because obviously they're keen on the services that I provide, and I will probably try and provide a bit more to them, or perhaps the ones that aren't paying me enough, and I actually want to think, well, they only paid me £500 last year. How can I get a little bit more? How can I provide a few more services
exactly
to them, and start emailing those out? So it was a very useful session. Hello.
Nick, do you want to
Very
grab your
well.
microphone?
How are you all doing?
Very good.
Nick, thank you so much for giving your time out for today and coming to join us on our little podcast. I think really from our point of view, how do you feel about today? Or what-
Introduce yourself first.
Oh, yeah,
For those of our viewers who don't know, great Nick.
Just so you know, I wasn't here at the beginning, so I have no idea what's going on here.
Yeah.
So Nick Williams, it's been great for you to come. Do you want to introduce yourself and then give us some?
Thank you so much. Yeah, so product director of Intuit. I've been with Intuit now for 10 years, formerly in the sales organization, leading that. So yeah, how do I feel? Well, firstly, what an amazing venue.
Yeah.
I mean, looking out the window and all of this, but then looking inside, even better. I mean, I'm just so amazed. It felt, when I said at the start, it felt like a family reunion. So many faces that we haven't seen for so long, so many partners, so many Nesta's friends. It's just been amazing. And then obviously we'll talk about what we've been launching today, which again is an excitement. So I feel really, really good. Thanks. And I hope you've all felt the same. I mean, how you
Absolutely.
felt?
It's been a great day.
It's amazing to see that buzz, isn't it? Like, I mean, we'll come on to, like I said, the announcements, but it's just amazing to see that buzz of people around. And like I was just saying in my session today, like one of the biggest things we get out of QuickBooks Connect is the great announcements and the great breakout rooms, was actually talking to one another still and having that opportunity.
Yeah,
It's the face-to-face network.
yeah.
It's so important.
it really is.
And you do get that in
Missed
other
that for 4
events.
years.
Yeah.
You do get that at other conferences and everything else, but this one we all know why we're here. Like, it's for a common cause, and I think that helps
Yeah.
breed that kind of conversations and
Yeah.
talking and everything else. And for me, that's what's been missing, hasn't it? And virtual, we can't replicate that, unfortunately,
No,
can
we
we?
can't.
That's what we miss out
And,
on.
and what I love, Aaron, about it as well, it's over the years, and many of us, we've been all in this together for many years, but we've all evolved and we've given feedback. We've evolved, not just product, but also collectively of the industry, accountancy practice, bookkeeping practices. So we're on this amazing journey together. So, I don't know, it just feels really sentimental today after being so long in a lockdown position. It's now all being back together. It's just phenomenal. So if I'm getting too sentimental, please tell me to move
Well,
on.
I'm
This is
amazed.
what we
I thought you were going to start welling up. Then.
I feel like I need to break into song.
Well,
a
it
little
was
bit.
one of the more in terms of COVID and not attending anything with COVID, and you've let me in with this cough. So I'm delighted that I wasn't banned at the door.
And how are you feeling? You feeling all right?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
Good.
So the crux of today then was
Yeah.
the announcement. And I know you were really excited because we got to see you beforehand and we've got to see you in a few times. I know you're really excited to let people know what's been announced. I think before we go into the details, I think the big thing or the big feedback that I'd love to think what your thoughts are is that you've mentioned a lot of times how we've had this shift from back in the day, it was very much accountants focused, and we went, slightly towards more towards the client focus. And then we had this, we were told and we were, being explained that we're going back to a more accountant focus, which is what music to our ears as accountants. Well, my opinion is, and we'll go through the details of each one, I feel like what was announced today was a statement of intent for that. Like, that is what the things, we have pain points and here are the solutions for them. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, no, completely. And I think if I take a big step back, when you think about, well, when you were on Ask the Accountant, the expert panel, Asking Advisor, at that moment, I know we're going back to COVID. Why I'm starting with this is because during that period of time, where did everyone turn to? Their accountant, right? Their advisor, their bookkeeper. And you all did phenomenal work for small business. And then fast forward to where we are now, nearly 90% of the UK is attached to an accountant, a bookkeeper, second most trusted behind the medical profession. So why I'm starting with that is because that's always been the case. Not necessarily 90%, but that's always been the case. So for us, accountants and bookkeepers are the foundation of everything that we do. And whilst we have at certain years over optimized in terms of getting our core accounting and capabilities, not just ready for accountants, but also supporting small business, today is exactly that. It's a statement of intent to say, this is what we've been working on. Here it is. Please give us your feedback, and there is more coming. And, I take a full, almost a personal accountability as the role I play as product director, because spending 9 years working with many of you, hearing what you needed from a sales lens, I feel as if with me and an amazing team behind me, we will deliver what's needed. So, yeah, I'm welling up again, aren't I? I'm getting a little sentimental. What's going on with me today?
So for me then, like, let's go through the individual aspects and get me your thought, because I felt like there was a real buzz about each individual aspect, and maybe we're a bunch of accountants, so maybe there wasn't the whooping that I was probably expecting for some of them. I was expecting, if I'm honest, I was expecting more of a hey when some of the announcements were made. But actually, when you look and talk to people see the glint in their eyes, see what they can. That's the real
We were all
emotion there,
inwardly
isn't it?
whooping. I gave one shout out.
I got told to calm down at one
Yeah,
point.
I think I
so-
deafened you when I whooped.
Well, you know, our previous conferences, we never in the UK. The whoop register. We need to ramp this up. So
No,
that was our
exactly.
intention
Yeah,
today.
well, we've both seen the American version where the whooping goes through the
Yes.
roof. But yeah,
So we need to compete with that. That's what
Yeah.
we need to
One
get
day.
to.
One day.
Yeah.
So let's go for that first announcement then. So practice management, was it? That's
Yeah,
right, first
yeah.
announcement. So in your eyes, like, what was the reason for that kind of going down that route? What came out of that one?
Yeah, no, great question. So everything starts with a problem, and what we were hearing, actually going back to this increased work demand coming out of lockdown, more and more people need an accountant. I mean, the demand on your time is just crazy. And I know I shared this before, but when I talk to many of you, and again, we'll hear it this evening probably, everyone is maxed out. You're so busy. So when we sort of peel that into sort of a workflow behind it, people are now managing more and more complex tasks, not just MTD for that, in the future MTD for ITSA, it's coming, etc. We wanted a way to streamline and simplify workflows, and practice management give us that capability, but also not just internally within the practice, solving the problems of I'm wasting my time chasing for documentation, I'm wasting my time trying to get them to approve something, so again, on the other side, better collaboration and connectivity with the end client on transacting with documentation needed, signature needed, approval needed. So pulling that all together. And then the last part is how many times have we been talking in the industry about, we need to get to becoming, the trusted advisor. We need to make sure that we move from, hitting a profit as an industry. How many accountants are working on clients where they don't actually make any profit? Well, with the insights on practice management, we can start servicing what is your client portfolio looking like? What are the workflow timelines looking like, etc. And this is an area that we want to expand on so we can help the profession say, well, actually, I am delivering advice now, not just me, but my junior members can do it because it's underpinned by some AI insights, which is work in progress, clearly. But also, I'm actually profitable. I'm employing more people as an accountancy firm and I'm powering prosperity. So a long-winded way of saying practice management to streamline the workflows, to really help better client collaboration, and then drive those insights to give better advice. And we're so excited about it being in its stages where we are now. And yeah, that's one of a few today, as you can see.
I think that's the key as well. Like we're talking about, and I think a lot. If you underline today as a whole, we've got great building blocks for a fantastic future. What the ecosystem of QuickBooks can be, and I think when you think about practice management, for me, the cleverness and the bit that really excites me is, well, that's our opportunity to get all of that amazing AI, amazing cleverness, amazing insights into clients, and we get a place where we can see it. And that gives me an opportunity as a client, an accountant, to change the way we've been thinking about doing tasks before. Like, does it have to be date driven and statutory driven? Can it be client health driven? And then that opportunity. And I know they're the end goals, aren't they? And that's why you're going down that route. And I think for me, that's what excites me. And I think when we go through each one of these, we'll see there's that natural progression. There's that that chancellor future. And that's really got to be getting people excited.
Yeah, I think yesterday we were mentioning sort of volume driven, weren't we, on things, because you could work on one particular client, 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
And that would be enough if you were just looking on the dates. You think, I need to do that job every quarter. But another client might need your attention 3 or 4 times a week. If they've got thousands of transactions coming through, so you want something that comes through to practice management that says you've now got 1,000 unreconciled transactions.
That's it.
That one basically triggers a warning to say, send that manager an email. We need to look at that, or they've got 60 receipts that have been taken a picture of, which means those 60 receipts now have got to get reconciled in the bank at some point. And if you don't do it basically in a short space of time, you've then got a load more transactions. Everything gets mushy. Things get duplicated. So, getting that information or those warnings sent out on a regular basis so people can keep on top of the stuff that needs keeping on top of.
And actually, just one build on that, actually, it's a great point. How many times have we heard the managing partner, he or she, say, well, all the work comes to me. I'm trying to distribute the workload to more junior members of the team. But really, some of the junior members may not follow the relevant steps because they haven't done it before. So to your point, whether it's chasing information, but workflow can give a step by step what needs to be done when, so that workload can be distributed to junior members, which gives them more empowerment, makes it more exciting to work in the firm. Digital first, and we all know it's a big problem in the industry to recruit and retain talent. This is one small part which I think needs to be bigger across the board to help us get more talent into the industry. So
Agreed.
What I would say on what's interesting for me on having a practice management, a proper practice management tool built into the product, is the much more integration of the tasks. So expanding a little bit on what you were saying, Ash, having the task built in. So at the moment, if you use an external practice management tool, there are a number of them out there. you first of all, you take on a new client. You've got to set up what are the tasks we need to do for this client, whether it's on regular bookkeeping tasks, whether it's VAT tasks, payroll tasks, year-end tasks, etc. Now, with the practice management built into QuickBooks, we're setting up that they're VAT registered. With MTD, you don't need to tell it what the VAT quarters are because MTD QuickBooks talks to HMRC. HMRC tells QuickBooks what the VAT quarters are, which means that not only do we not need to set what the VAT quarters are, but the practice management side of QuickBooks can in future say, well, if that quarter ends 31st of March or 30th of April, you've got so many unreconciled transactions that still haven't been dealt with. You've got so many transactions that maybe previously they had a VAT code standard 20%. Now, for some reason, they've got a 0%. Maybe you want to check it. So building on what you've had for a couple of years now with your VAT error checker, having all those things working together in product, and you build in a little bit of artificial intelligence as well, I think starts to make the practice management tool much more proactive. So it's powerful as practice management for some time, but it becomes much more proactive. Instead of the user telling the system and therefore other users within the firm, yes, we've done this task, we haven't done this task, what task is coming up? The system can start to tell us, well, you didn't tell us that you completed that job, but the software can see that we've completed that job.
Yeah.
So the software tells us we're not responsible for telling it. And that's where I think huge time savings will come. And not just time savings, but the ability to not miss problems. You've got a deadline in 3 days. Now, normally you might think, well, that's not a problem because normally this client is very easy to finish off their VAT. But actually, there's 1,000 unreconciled transactions.
Exactly.
You've only got 3 days to get those done. Somebody better get on that quickly.
Yeah,
and it starts to become much, much more powerful.
yeah, great point.
I was just thinking, I'm sure this will be possible anyway. But if you're, say, you're a small bookkeeper or small accounting firm, and so I wound my bookkeeping practice down a few years ago, but I had a few where I basically taught the clients to do most of their, pretty much all of their bookkeeping, but I would have to log in around the VAT quarter end time just to make sure they had kept up to date with their bookkeeping. So I'm thinking, if I was a small one-man band bookkeeper and I trained my clients to do that thing, then I'd set up my internal practice management to email my client when it gets to, you've got 200 unreconciled transactions. So let me email the client that basically looks like it's coming from me that says, hello, John, just to remind you, you've got 200 transactions unreconciled.
Yeah.
Can you make sure that you get them done by the end of the month because we need to file your VAT on time?
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's coming from me. Basically, QuickBooks is just chucking it out to them. So that's what I guess what we want.
Yeah. Agreed.
Definitely. And I think what we're doing here is where, I think the solution as it is, it's going to be very big ask for a lot of accounting firms or at the very beginning to wholesale move their practice management solution from A to B. But actually, the what we're talking about here, there's such a more clever approach there. I think there's an opportunity to work hand in hand. Like this could be the task management driven tool, and I think that could be that entry level way in and the way to kind of get in. And I think that's that gives us hope then that we can have enough users on there to get enough data to then drive the next round of efficiencies and the next round of innovation.
Definitely. And how many times do we hear from accountants whereby how often do you actually get time to actually reflect and optimize your workflows? You're sort of always in that sort of chasing the moment to get the job done. And actually this will at least allow firms to sit back and say, well, actually, is that truly efficient what we're doing? Let's map that now in the practice management and enhance the workflows and give people more time back. So
love it. I'm really conscious of your time. So I think the big one is corporation tax and accounts production in the form of
books to review and pro tax. So do you know, what's your reaction you've seen so far to people of what they said to you so far? Is it excitement? Is it
You
joy?
know, it's obviously I never have a favorite, but I really do love books to tax. And what I love about it, I love the journey that we've been on in terms of again the problem having to export from QuickBooks into a third party software prone with errors, but seeing it now mature to its beta stage. And remember, the first stage is FRS 105, and obviously accounts production in the company's house. But beyond that, we'll take it into FRS 102, etc., etc., etc. So I'm really excited with the feedback we've got today, and a lot of the interactions in development, and you've been on our accountant council, you know, you've all inputted into this. So yeah, I feel really proud. I feel proud what the team have done. I feel proud that we're showcasing, we're listening, and we're acting on that, and we've got the support to take it where it needs to go. So yeah, I'm really excited. That actual booth downstairs, the books to tax.
It is.
Sometimes when you look at the different booths, that one was totally maxed.
And that's
So it's a
saying
case
something,
of
isn't it? And I think one of the best things about this feature is it was built from the ground up. Like
Yeah.
that gives you so much more opportunity later down the line to tweak a little bit here. And you know, we've been talking about AI in a bookkeeping solution, but imagine what AI could do for accounts production. You know,
Mm.
and that's the sort of thing that Intuit's constantly looking at doing and constantly bringing in. So that's where we've got that again springboard to something that could be
Yeah.
really exciting.
And on that, it's a great point. A lot of the AI, and you mentioned it before, you know, that error checker, like a lot of the AI capabilities we're looking at are sort of errors and anomalies. So it's things that you may or may not see, but you may waste time trying to find. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is how we can make that even smarter to do some of the matching. So we talked about, you know, Train QB, where you've got the banks. A good example is the bank gets connected and everything gets reconciled. Clearly, that still has an accountant to oversee it, but just taking away these mundane tasks through a tax process, allowing you to then actually probably spend more time looking at them at the reports and the accounts production. So, well, actually, we need to sit down with this client. Why? Because year on year revenue is X, the net assets are dropping. Something's happening that we need to address. So,
But something else by having the accounts production built into the bookkeeping product, there are certain tasks at the moment we have to do manually if we're using an external tax tool like tax filer or tax calc, KPM or whatever we're using. By having it in the product, there are notes like, for example, if the director's loan account's gone overdrawn, how long has it gone overdrawn by? What was its maximum? What was its minimum? You could write that note to the accounts automatically in the software, based because it's in the same product. It knows the bookkeeping.
Yeah.
And, as long as you've coded your director's loan account correctly, the notes can be written for you. At the moment, we're having to go back and check. And then where was the maximum? Where was the minimum?
Yeah.
What changes were? So all of those things start to add to the value of the accounts production that we've done and save us time, be more accurate, and save us, making mistakes.
Yeah, and then reuse that time to then give more informed and better advice, probably to
Oh,
your
absolutely,
clients.
very much so,
Yeah,
yeah.
completely.
And that's
Which really, to the previous point, is where we've always been talking about getting to the trusted advisor, and we're making progress across the industry. But
All of these things, the more time we save in producing the numbers, which is it's essential, but that's not the exciting bit. Exactly as you said, that allows us that time to talk to our clients, to understand what our clients' needs are, and to give them the advice that they want. Again, proactively.
Love it.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the books to tax thing, and this it might do this, and I could probably create a report manually. But I was just thinking one of the tasks when I was preparing lots of accounts, very simple scenarios. You're looking at the turnover this year, and you're comparing it to the turnover of the previous year. You see if that's gone up or down. So that's quite a straightforward one. But then when you're looking at all the things that sit below that, so cost of sales. So what is cost of sales as a percentage of turnover? And what was cost of sales as a percentage of turnover in the previous year, and all the other overheads as a percentage of turnover. And and if there are massive differences, we should be reviewing the P&L thoroughly anyway. But just as a very quick overview, if there was a huge discrepancy between advertising costs in 2023 compared to 2022, why has it increased significantly? I mean, it could be a genuine reason, but if there shouldn't be, then that's immediately just highlighted the fact that it's gone up 70%. So those two little, a couple little checklists like that as part of the little process that's just that's a little gift.
No, but
for
then
you.
you move straight into then working with your client to say, well, look, bearing in mind this big swing's been noticed over 12 months, we're moving into monthly management accounts, and me
Yeah.
as your accountant, I'm going to act as your virtual CFO, and I'm going to make sure that we're on track with these KPIs every month, and you'll get a much better response from the small business.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's sticky, isn't it? It's sticky. So again, just conscious of your time on this one. So we've not covered them in any detail, but the other three solutions, is there anything out there that really, the three that left, that really got you excited as well? Were you most excited to announce to everyone?
Yeah, no, it's across all the board. Well, firstly, advanced. So we're seeing
Mhm.
advance, go from strength to strength, and that's only going to get better. So, what I loved about when we share the latest on that, I've got so many nods in the audience, like, yes, we've got customers on it. I had so many people talking to the team today, myself included. I've just moved this professional services company over. They love it, very complex business, 50, 60 employees. So all of that is great, and there's more and more that's going to come with it. And they love the whole, the data backup and sync, spreadsheet sync. That's always been a big winner on that. But just jumping into payroll, the Bureau payroll is really, really getting so much feedback downstairs, positive feedback. And again, the problem was, well, look, how we have our payroll capability set at the moment, it's difficult to do it for me, or do it with me at a scale. And you know this, you've seen it. So, almost one click autopilot payroll is what we wanted to get to. And this Bureau payroll allows us to do it. But clearly it was underpinned with, well, the more employees I take on, the more expensive it's going to be. So flat fee and make it cost effective so it can scale. And then the second thing was, well, not everyone has their full practice based on one software provider. So whether it's practice management or Bureau payroll, we want to have this sort of agnostic feel to what we're doing now, to say, well, you can plug in whatever needs to be on one end-to-end seamless platform. So I feel good about Bureau payroll, and we're getting some great feedback from that. So any thoughts from what you've seen on Bureau payroll?
Bureau payroll wise, I think is definitely an interest of for our firm at least. Like we're looking into that, and that's going to be the next kind of step. But just on the advanced side of things, I think one thing we've been trying to advocate people to do is to get involved in advances, to just use it for their practice, because there's so many good things that from a practice point of view you can make efficiencies within your own practice. And then when you start using the software like that, like automations and revenue recognition and all that sort of stuff that's there, then that's when you can start going, I've got a client who could use this, and I've got a client who could use that. So yeah, we really do think to push it. But yeah, on payroll, I think, I think the fact that it's now matured into that bureau option is going to be exciting. And we can't wait to get our teeth into it. So just, sorry, one question, because never get a chance to ask this again, is, obviously it's very much based on that advanced payroll for the bureau. Was there a reason why core wasn't involved? Because I do feel like, for me, there's a bit of a missed opportunity there, that we could definitely use core payroll, or basic payroll. Sorry, we could use basic payroll for a large proportion of our clients as well. And it's almost like we're being not forced, but our options is advance or no, no for that. Was there a reason behind that, like in the business?
Well, firstly, I'll definitely take that on as feedback. So we have what we call standard payroll, and then we've
Standard,
got
sorry,
advanced, which clearly, as the name implies, has more advanced capabilities. So they both integrate deeply with QuickBooks, whereas the Bureau is almost on its own; it can run with anything. So yeah, there's probably, between the two capabilities, a set number, I can't remember offhand, between the two sort of feature sets, between standard and advanced. So again, it depends on what your end users' needs are in terms of which payroll you use. But naturally, what we're trying to do with all of this is just find, like we've got Simple Start, Essentials Plus, etc., and Self-Employed, find a payroll solution that firms can scale with, and that fits with their cost profile as well. But maybe if there's something that we need to look at to support each other, then please, let's do
I mean,
this.
you're right. Advance is a scalable option. That is definitely for sure. So
Yeah, the great thing about the advanced payroll is that you can literally fully automate it, and then ignore it really pretty much until you want to just check the piece, publish a P60. So it's going to automatically do your submissions to HMRC every month. So I set it up for a friend of mine. So I mean, him himself and his wife, they're the only director employees on the business. But he said, "Oh, my current accountant does it, but they're charging me X." And I said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll help you out. I'll stick you on advanced payroll. You won't have to log in, because it's just going to do everything for you." So yeah, that's the That's the beauty of it.
Sold. That's it. I'm signed up
There
now.
you
That's
go.
it. Great sales
I'll,
pitch
I'll,
there,
st- I'll
Ash.
stick my invoice in later.
I love that. I love it.
Thank
I
you
bet
so
it-
much. Thank you. It's been an absolute honour to have you on the podcast.
Thank you
So
for the
thank you.
invite. Well, thank you for all that you do for us as a company, for all of you. You know, you've been here from the very start, and all your podcasting communication massively appreciated. So all your support through the networks and feedback. So it's more of a thank you from me to you, rather you to me. So thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks.
Thank you for your time. Thank you. All right. So, team, I mean, yeah, we're going to talk about anything else? Or we're
Is
going
there
to
anything else to talk about?
Thank you again, Nick. Thank you so
Cheers,
much.
thank you. Cheers.
Anything else you want to? What's your feedback then? Like, we've had some great guests here. What's your feedback then? I mean, and before we go any further, what I need to say is, isn't it amazing that we're doing this live? Like you and me, we're in a pub 5 years ago, whatever it was, saying we're going to do a podcast, and there we are.
Yeah. Overlooking the River Thames.
That's a beautiful view.
It is. Yeah, it's nice. Come and see them. Is it HMS Belfast? I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Somewhere here. Yeah, that's HMS Belfast.
I
Yes,
suppose
yes,
that's
yes.
just in the background.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is. Yeah. It's a great venue.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good day, really. Pretty chilled.
And
Well,
just final
it's-
notes from you guys before we.
Well, I mean,
wrap up?
essentially, we talked earlier about the focus that Intuit is focusing again on the accountants. That's his bloody cough. They're focusing again on accountants, and the innovations they talked about today were all about accountants. But since we are here, to sort of recap where it's at, I would just mention the two other features. I was going to mention it to Nick, but I had to rush off, which I'd be most pleased to see that are in the core bookkeeping products. That are very, very new. One, which I think we've mentioned previously on these monthly podcasts, is the fact that bank statements are now flying into QuickBooks, which is something I've absolutely loved. I've only had it so far with Metro Bank, but it's starting to come in with the other banks, and that is fantastic because that was always a pain point for me, is getting clients to send me the bank statements. So I've actually got something to reconcile to. So that's brilliant, and the more banks that sign up to that, which are going to happen very soon, it's brilliant. And the other is the new feature, which I don't think we've mentioned before. It's very, very new. Is the receipt capture thing? It's now starting to come into bills as well, so it's not solely
I've noticed
expenses.
that, yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that develops.
brilliant,
But
that
that
is.
was a
I
very
love
exciting.
Yeah, it's a great workflow. That. So.
Yes.
But you, Ash, any final thoughts on everything?
I can't think of anything particularly.
No
I'm just still relieved that there was no mention of the fixed asset.
No fixed asset.
Although that means I lose on the bingo, so brilliant. All right, well, I think that's the camera we are on. So thank you everybody for joining. If you are joining live, this has been a bit of a passion project of mine, so very thankful. And you guys, thank you very much. I mean, we've been able to finally get this done in person event, having to do it. And I'm apologies for any technical difficulties. I know one of the mics might not have been working, and we've got an XLR cable that's not working here, and all that sort of stuff. We'll make sure it gets sorted the next one. But yeah, that's been it. Now we've got more content coming your way because we've got quite a bit of content we're going to be filming from today. Coming in, we're going to invite as many guests as we can into here. Yeah, we're going to bring them in and we're going to talk to them. Not live, but we'll make sure we get some content out there. So it's not the end of it. We've got a lot of feedback from today's stuff as well. When we get our hands on it, we're going to be talking about it on this very podcast. So yeah, there's more to come. Thank you, everybody. Make sure that you got any comments or anything, let them know below. And I'm sure we'll see you very soon. Lizzie, do you want to run the famous outro?
As an accountant, I've got something to say. I'd like to introduce you to a whole new way to help small business clients. It's easy as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. QuickBooks Online. Accounting you can customize. Just sit back and relax. It works with over 300 apps. It can sync up with PayPal or Shopify. And with Fathom you can analyze. With Fundbox you'll get paid instantly, while Stitch Labs tracks your inventory. QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online. Can save money and time. QuickBooks Online.
And also, I'm going live now
with QuickBooks Labs to go raw reactions of what we got, and we've got some special guests there as well. So for me, all I want to say is thank you very much. This has been my Glastonbury moment. I've always wanted to be on this stage. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.